Hello everybody! I've been given a replay, and I've been given a replay by the legend, the enigma, that is, Antares. Now, Antares is playing Isengard in this match, and he has shown me a few features of the match that he'd like me to point out. So we're just going to go over to his Palantir to have a look at his command points and have a look at his resources. As we see here, he's gone for a very heavy eco start by going for 2 inside resource buildings. He's also going to be splitting his Isengard troops to creep 2 wildmen at the same time. Now, he's thrown down a tainted land, as Django didn't in his match, and the reason for that is just to give a little bit of bonus armor to his troops while he fights the wildmen. Now, here is a perfect example of how to creep wildman huts with weak early game units, and the idea is to target the wildman first rather than targeting the hut. If you attack the hut first, all the wildmen stay alive and continue to deal damage to your troops, and it is possible to lose a battalion in this way. So as we see here, Antares kills the wildman and then targets the hut. Now, once the hut has been targeted, it won't die before more wildmen come out, as we see here. But all you simply do is move your troops over to attack the rest of the wildmen, as we see Antares doing here, kill those wildmen, then attack the hut again. Now, by doing this, you gain quite a bit of experience for your troops from killing all those wildmen. And if you can get the scouts to level 2, it's excellent, because they're so much better at level 2. They get to toggle their weapons, they get to use bow and arrow. And to have 2 archer battalions and 2 sword battalions so early in the game can really be a huge benefit in the match. So by creeping both of the wildmen and splitting in this way, you can get 2 very early level 2 Isengard scouts. And you can grab these 2 outside farms. Now, let's have a quick look at Antares' opponent in this match, and it's Celeborn. And he's gone for dwarves, and he's chosen to go for Ered Luin. Now, a lot of players believe that Ered Luin is OP, and I have to say that I actually agree with them. And we can see here one of the reasons why they're considered OP, and perhaps one of the biggest reasons why they're considered OP, and that is the passive ability of the Ered Luin Guardians. If 25 or more Ered Luin Guardians are nearby, all of them gain a plus 35% speed boost, and you can see by the runes on these Guardians that they have the speed boost on. Now, speed is so important in 1v1s, and the reason for that is that you can attack your enemy, and if you're winning the attack, they can't run away from you. But if you're losing the attack, you can simply run away from them. So really, you can deal huge damage if you need to, and you can sustain as little damage as you can if you are in trouble. And there was an example where Bill Fernie really couldn't escape there because these Guardians are so fast. Now, a way to balance that would be to have very low armor and very low damage of very high speed units. Now, in the meantime, Antares has decided to go for Warg Riders in his base. And Warg Riders are excellent. You can get them so quickly as Isengard, and really they can do quite high damage. They're also very good against Guardians, because one thing that's faster than even speed boosted Guardians of Ered Luin are cavalry, and Wargs are cavalry. Antares has also gone for some Wildmen, so really you see here, he's getting a bit of a mixed army. He's using the Wildmen as his swords, and also his harassing units, whereas he's got 2 battalions of archers, thanks to the efficient creeping of the Wildmen, and he's got some cavalry out. Now, Celeborn's got no pikes. Oh no, he's got no pikes, and Antares has got cavalry. So really, this is how excellent very early wars can be, especially if your opponent isn't ready for it. You can just simply trample them and kill them. Now, you must have noticed by now that Celeborn has gone for an extremely early Lake Town. And Antares here is using a great technique by attacking this outpost. As we see here on the percentage, the building builds a lot slower whilst you attack it, and it's actually possible to destroy a building whilst it's being built, as we might be able to see here. Now let's have a look at the percentage. You can see it actually goes down at some points. You see it goes down to 94. So it is actually possible to destroy it while it's being built. However, it's a lot quicker to let it build and then destroy it, as we see Antares is doing here. and then attack. So by attacking it whilst it hasn't been built, here we see the archers attacking the pikes, which really, once the pikes are dead, the cavalry can just trample. Yes, so there was a situation where Antares wasn't quite ready for the lake town to be fully built, because he knew that Celeborn would be making this watchtower. So he simply just attacked the outpost for a little bit to buy himself time to upgrade his wildmen and get some more out, as we see here. Now that he's done that, he's got enough of a force to really deal some damage to Lake Town. And really, what can Celeborn do here? Because the scouts are attacking his pikes, and the wargs are trampling his guardians, and the wildmen just clean up Lake Town. And there it goes, 800 resources down the pan. So really, that is a big disadvantage of going for such a early outpost rush, is that if your opponent effectively counters it, as Antares has done here, by going for very early wildmen, going for wargs, and getting some archers out, really, it's such a huge blow in the early game to lose that amount of money. Now, you could say, well, yes, it's a huge blow, but Antares had to invest a lot of money, for example, in the wildmen, to kill it. So, yes, Celeborn invested money in his outposts, but Antares invested money in its counter. However, the money that Celeborn invested in the outposts is completely wasted. There is no outpost anymore, but Antares keeps his units, and those units can be used to deal some further damage. So, as we see here, he split his units, and he's harassing two farms at the same time, whilst also simultaneously harassing this farm with more wildmen and wargs. As we see here, Celeborn has brought out two guardians to try and fight off this wildman attack, and he's also got a pike in there, but he doesn't bring out the pike in time. So really, these guardians are isolated now, and if I was Antares at this point, I'd be bringing over my wargs, and here they are. And really, you can't counter that. If you've got no pikes, you can't counter cavalry, so the wargs just clean up there. And really, some good micro from Antares has completely destroyed map control, or rather destroyed Celeborn's map control, and it's just looking terrible for Celeborn so early on in this game. And really, that is thanks to the excellent mixed army that Antares has been able to make for himself by producing some harassing swordsmen and some cavalry, and also producing some archers, which he didn't actually build. He gained experience to get those archers. Here we see again, just grabbing more map control, and Celeborn uses the mine again, which if you want to gain map control as dwarves, especially with dwarves like Erebor and Iron Hills, which are slower, really mineshafts are your key advantage over the enemy to gain map control. However, Ered Lewin don't really need the mineshafts because they're so fast anyway. So as we see here, all Antares needs to do in this situation is shoot the pikes with his archers and trample the rest with his wargs, whilst the wildmen tank the damage. There you see a bit of a micro mistake and a lot of dead wargs because Antares rode right through the pikes. However, it's not too big of a deal because he's shooting the pikes now, and that's it, they're all dead. It really is as simple as that, and the wargs just clean up. So a little bit of a micro mistake, but it's irrelevant because he's in such a good position now. And really, let's have a look at the map now. Celeborn has lost all of the map control. Now, whereas I like to creep a lot, I like to grab these wargs, I like to grab these wildmen, I like to grab these wargs, I like to grab these wargs, and really get as much creep money and outside farms as I can. Antares has instead decided to just push through the middle rather than going on the flanks, and he's pushed through the middle to just grab map control and really steal map control of his enemy by destroying his farms and building farms in their place. So that's even probably more effective than my style in this situation, where really your enemy has 0 economy, and whilst you don't have the total amount of economy that you could have, really it's relative. So if your opponent has 0 and you have 5, that's way better than say a 10-to-5 ratio. So Antares has gone for the outpost, and what can Celeborn do here really? Now note that Antares has also, by killing all these units, built up a lot of power points, and he's got devastation, so he's just got bags of money now, and once again just target the pikes and trample the rest. That's all Antares has to do in this situation, and what Celeborn really needs to do now is gain the map control back. But how is he going to do this when Antares has such a good mixed army? So really a lot of that was about timing, and Antares timed it perfectly, and the strategy that he went for by going for the Wildmen, the Scouts and the Wargs really perfectly countered that early outpost rush. Now, it might not be the most optimal strategy for some other strategies played by your opponent. However, Antares did tell me that during this game, Celeborn picked his faction, and he knew that Celeborn likes to pick Ered Luin, and they knew he liked to rush for the outpost, so he decided to go for this tactic. And there we go, Celeborn has given the GG. Really, what can you do in that situation? It's just completely lost. You've rushed for the outpost, it hasn't paid off, and you've lost map control. It's game over. So there was a perfect example of how to counter a very early outpost, and why a very early outpost in 1v1s really can lose you the match. So something that I'd also like to mention, which I didn't quite cover there, I didn't quite have a chance because it was quite a short match, was that yes, Ered Luin Guardians are overpowered in my opinion because they're so fast. An excellent way to counter them is by going for cavalry, because really, cavalry is faster than the Guardians. So, thank you for watching, and I would like some more replays, so send me your replays if you've got them, no matter what your skill level. So, thanks again for watching, and goodbye from me.